You cannot change people at their core, but must merely avoid becoming their victim. You're an observer of the human comedy. And by being as tolerant as possible, you gain a much greater ability to understand people and to influence their behavior when necessary. So this is a really short, really cool book. It's this really tiny book. It's the size of my palm, which I've been really fascinated by. I've already read it twice at least. I've gone through it a couple of other times, but I've read it twice just to get my thoughts in order, get a refresher on what the author talks about and the stories he's kind of gotten together. And today I want to talk to you about it because it can really change your outlook towards work, right? How you take work, how do you think about work, how do you think about a job, and all of these things. This one single book can really change that for you. The book I'm talking about is this tiny little book called Mastery. This is written by Robert Greene. He's one of my favorite authors in nonfiction category. He's written some amazing books like Power, War, The Art of Seduction, and so on. And as a student, as an upcoming founder, as someone who's really interested into uh, getting themselves better and learning faster and really picking up skills quickly, he's discussed that in Mastery, right? So this tiny little book is really cool. He All the books that I've read of his are these tiny versions or the concise version essentially, but these are actually full big books. They are like giant. um, but I haven't been able to get my hands on them, and somewhere I also don't feel comfortable reading those at this point. Maybe sometime, but I'm sure those will be much more detailed. The concise books themselves are very uh, dense, and you really need to read them a couple of times to chew on the ideas and then digest them really well. But they are beautiful. It's really on point, right? So I'm gonna share my perspective and what I learned from this. It's again, I don't do these. I don't like doing book reviews. I just share what I've read, and I'm sharing what I've learned from it and where I apply these, because I see all of these things not just applicable in business but also in personal life in general, like relationships, like how do we talk to parents, how do we talk to our spouses, how do I talk to our friends, and just talk to ourselves as well, right? All of these things kind of put together, everything is interconnected, and that's what I want to share. Like, I read these books myself to get the understanding of humans and how we work, and of course then wherever you're dealing with humans, all of these things apply, right? So yeah, so let me talk about this one. So uh, in short, the book is called Mastery. It's about how do you achieve greatness in the work that you do, whatever work that you're planning to do or want to do. And so he's written like the contents, the table of contents itself is really big, right? You'll get a really good overview of what the book is talking about just from there, like strategies for completing the ideal apprenticeship. He talks that first you need to just figure out your life's work or life's task, so which he's called discover your calling. And then he's like, go for an ideal apprenticeship, because you cannot learn just from books and lectures and everything. You need you need to be someone's apprenticeship to really absorb their nuances and then bring out your own. Then mentor dynamic, which is essentially how do you work with a mentor and what kind of comes over there. Then social intelligence, creative, awakening the dimensional mind, which is essentially how do you kind of build that creative energy yourself and then actually showcase that. And finally, coming to the mastery part of it, which is fuse the intuitive with the rational. Fuse the intuitive with the rational, which is bring that intuitiveness or the creativity that comes on its own for artists, and merging it with rational, right? So rational thought, the logical mind, putting it all together. Now, so yeah, I mean, it's a really good book. What I've learned from this personally is that there are two ways to think about it. One is that you choose your work and then you just build upon it, and there's nothing that you can do about it. But more importantly, once you decide that this is the kind of work that I want to do and this is the work that I'm passionate about and I'm gonna take it forward, then there's no going back, right? Most of the times, what I was struggling with was there were too many options, too many things distracting me, too many ideas that I wanted to pursue. But I did not achieve any kind of success, any kind of movement or progress until unless I decided that, hey, I am going to stick to this until it succeeds to a level that I am okay with, right? So sometimes it's just a particular amount of money that I've decided for myself, or sometimes it's about the time amount of time that I've given to it, but it's the success is something that I decide. So I will stick to that particular skill, stick to that particular line of business, or stick to that particular profession until I achieve that measure of success that I've defined for myself, and then and only then entertain other ideas, right? So before that, I would not entertain other ideas, and that kind of focus, when you put it in every day, really makes you push hard and push forward, right? Because you don't have an option, right? But that only comes from inside. Sometimes, of course, it is external as well, that you're just bounded by things. But in the abundant world that we live in today, most of it comes from inside, where we have to decide ourselves that, hey, this is something that I'm going to pick up and I'm going to do and I'm going to go forward with, and then yeah, you stick with it until it works, right? It sounds scary because we're all used to plan B's, and probably we should keep a plan B. This is unconventional advice for coming to startups, because usually it's go all in or go nothing. uh, but for me, I don't think that's a very smart way, because rationally speaking, there will be times when you need backup, right? You need that peace of mind to actually do the best kind of work that you can possibly. So you need a safety net. A backup does not mean that you need to keep flip flopping or anything, but you just need a safety net in case things go bad or things take longer than expected. So that's the kind of mentality that I hold for startups today, and just after understanding so much, that it's not about having a plan B. It's more about having a safety net that, hey, okay, this is where I earn money, and this is where, in case things, my plan does not work out as I thought, or in case things go wrong, then I need the safety net to keep going, right? But I'm not losing my focus. I'm not changing my direction. I'm fixated on the direction, fixated on the goal, fixated on the mission that I'm pursuing. But yes, in order to sustain, in order to keep my life together, keep my family together, keep my relationships together, I also do need to have a safety net in case things don't work out as I wanted to. So so that's one piece of thinking that I've gotten about startups, and something that has really helped me so far. um, Now, coming back to mastery is, uh, it's the kind of book that if you read early on, it can really help you understand how our education system is messed up today and what kind of skills are important, right? So the skills today are more apprenticeship led, or something that you've learned yourself, right? So coding, AI, like prompt engineering, and just like entrepreneurship is a skill. So all of these are skills. Entrepreneurship is a skill that you can learn, but you need to learn through a mentor, right? So because that makes the process so much faster, you make fewer mistakes. One of the people that I've learned from is Daniel Priestley. His ideas, his thinking is really superb for me, and I've really applied it across my work, both in teaching as well as in Kaithara, and it's really giving wonderful results. Of course, it's easier to talk about these ideas, but it takes longer than expected to make them happen, to realize how they're working, if they're working, and to get those ideas to fruition in a way. So perfect. So let me quickly take you through this book and the things that I've learned. Now, the process of following your life's task all the way to mastery can essentially begin at any point in life, right? So it does not matter what your age is or what kind of situation you're in. It can start at any point in life. The hidden force within you is always there and ready to be engaged. Now, it sounds woo woo, uh, but it's not. It's something that I've personally felt myself, that there are hidden forces within you. You just don't have access to it. And when you're when your wall is literally when your back is put to the wall, and you don't see any other option and you have to make things work, you tap into that energy. Or when you decide for yourself that, hey, I am gonna make it work no matter what comes my way, then you just tap into that energy and you make it happen, right? You don't know where that source of energy comes from, but it is there because it is coming from within you. Of course, the people around you can help you get there faster, but it is within you, and only when you realize that will you really trust yourself. All right, because at the end of it, that's what faith is, that you really need to trust yourself to even embark on a journey which is so unconventional. So this line really hit home for me, that the hidden force, that the process of following your life's task all the way to mastery can essentially begin at any point in life. The hidden force within you is always there and ready to be engaged, right? It's waiting to be engaged. It's hibernating, and it's just waiting for its time to come, when you wake up, when you decide, when you want to move forward, and when all of these things come together, that's when it that hidden force comes out from you. The process of realizing your life's task comes in three stages, right? So he's talking about, how do you even find that life's task? First, you must connect or reconnect with your inclinations, that sense of uniqueness. The first step is always inward. So you have to look inward and figure out that point of uniqueness, right? Reconnect with your inclinations, that sense of uniqueness. Once you do that, second is, once this connection is established, you must look at the career path you're already on or are about to begin. The choice of this path or the redirection of it is critical. To help in this stage, you will need to enlarge your concept of work itself. So he's saying that essentially, once you've reignited this connection with yourself and that those inclinations and those unique ways of looking at life, now you need to choose the path or the redirection of it very carefully. And how you do that is for you to first enlarge the concept of work itself. You want to see your work as something more inspiring, as part of your vocation. Vocation means something that you do irrespective of you earning it, right? Something that you just for the pure pleasure of it. And when you do that, that's when you become like it just flows through you, right? So you need to think about your work more as a vocation. The word vocation comes from Latin meaning to call or to be called. Uh, yeah, so it's essentially like in Christianity, it's like the voice of God calling them to do a certain kind of service. But yeah, you don't have to go in that voodoo science. That's something that was these are the stories that were earlier. But you will eventually hit upon a particular field or a niche or an opportunity that suits you perfectly. You will recognize it when you find it because it will spark that childlike sense of wonder and excitement. It will feel right. Once found, everything will fall into place. Once found, everything will fall into place. Right? So there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of internal introspection that you'll probably have to do before you make it work. But once it does, once you find that right thing, it will all click together, and it will be uh, easier from there. So you will determine your circumstances as your own master. You will no longer be subject to the whims of tyrannical bosses or scheming peers. It's you who you're born with a particular makeup and tendencies that mark you as a piece of fate. It is who you are to the core. Some people never become who they are. They stop trusting in themselves. They conform to the tastes of others and they end up wearing a mask that hides their true nature. If you allow yourself to learn who you really are by paying attention to that voice and the force within you, then you can become what you were fated to become, an individual, a master. Right? So, Robert is really good at sharing particular stories of really wonderful people, really accomplished people, and also not just the positive ones though. He also talks about the negative stories as well, to point out that hey, like sometimes we characterize good things only, but there are also bad things that happen. So we cannot just make principles based on good things. We also need to take care of the negatives and see if those negatives are actually counteracting principles. So what I love about his work is it's really balanced in terms of positive and negative at times. And so his ideas and his principles do really come through as as a balancing act, and so I trust them to work over a period of time. So they don't work immediately, and that's the nature of any idea for that matter. But yes, if you decide and if you trust that these are good ideas and they work, then it does kind of go forward, right? So then he gives like strategies for finding a life's task, which is return to your origin, the primal inclination strategy, occupy the perfect niche, the Darwinian strategy, avoid the false path, and all of these things. So essentially, it's like straightforward. I mean, it's not straightforward, but it is straightforward when you read it. So yeah, so that's one. So then comes the apprenticeship phase, and the apprenticeship is very simple. The principle is simple and must be engraved deeply in your mind. The goal of an apprenticeship is not money, a good position, a title, or a diploma, but rather the transformation of your mind and character, the first transformation on the way to mastery. You enter a career as an outsider, you are naive and full of misconceptions about this new world. Your head is full of dreams and fantasies about the future. Your knowledge of the world is subjective based on emotions, insecurities, and limited experience. Slowly, you will ground yourself in reality and the objective world represented by the knowledge and skills that make people you successful in it. You will learn how to work with others and handle criticism. In the process, you will transform yourself from someone who is impatient and scattered into someone who is disciplined and focused with a mind that can handle complexity. In the end, you will master yourself and all of your weaknesses. So, when this word master or mastery comes around, at its core for me is this idea that hey, like you have to master yourself, and when you master yourself, that's when you're able to put more of yourself into the work that you do. There's this beautiful Bruce Lee quote, or philosophy that I adhere to, and he says like he says it beautifully. I'm probably not gonna be as good, but he says that you know uh, in anything in life, especially when you're acting, is acting unacting or is unacting acting? That means that part of life is acting and part of life is unacting. Unacting is being authentic to yourself, right? So, as an actor, Bruce Lee was a really famous, really accomplished actor and a karate master. So, as an actor, you're also acting, but you're also unacting. It's your authentic self, but at the same time, you are acting because you're in someone else's character. You're a different character every time. So, um, what he says that uh, what he means by that is, for anything there is one part which is completely intuitive, right? Something that just comes naturally to you, and there is one side of it, like it's a spectrum. So one side of it is completely intuitive, happens on its own, and the other side of it is completely mechanical, and you're doing the job mechanically, you're not thinking about it. And in the middle somewhere is where the magic is, where you put these together and the magic happens, where the rational and the intuitiveness mixes together and comes together, right? And that's what this word mastery is about, and you should really read this book for that experience, and so that you can actually understand that philosophy at its core, because that's what makes it valuable, right? I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.